In Chapter 3, Sun Tzu outlines 3 ways in which a ruler can bring misfortune upon his own army. Being or having a bad leader on your team is one of the easiest ways to lose a game of solo queue. Whether you're the leader or not, try to be conscious and aware of these 3 mistakes. First, by commanding the army to advance or retreat, being ignorant of the fact that it cannot obey. This is when someone makes a mistake, gets caught, and when all hope is lost, a leader starts spamming back pings or starts yelling at them when they're already pretty much dead. Or conversely, when he's yelling at someone like Malphite to initiate with his ultimate, when Malphite's ultimate is still on cooldown. This does nothing but create dysfunction and anger between a leader and his followers, and is referred to as hobbling the army. Second, by attempting to govern an army in the same way he administers a kingdom, being ignorant of the conditions which obtain in an army. This causes restlessness in the soldiers' minds. If someone is constantly saying, well, in StarCraft you play like this, or well, in Dota you play like that, in an attempt to draw some sort of parallel between the 2 games, his team will slowly lose their respect for him. Not only does he not know enough about League to simply say whatever he has to say to get his point across, but he's trying in a very half-hearted attempt to show his experience and knowledge of other games. His teammates will stop listening to him very early on into the game. We all like to be appreciated for our other activities, but solo queue is about how good you are at League, nothing else. And thirdly, by employing officers of his army without discrimination, through ignorance of the military principle of adaptation to circumstances. This shakes the confidence of the soldiers. Here Sun Tzu is continuing off his last point about ignorance. The main thing you should take away from this is don't be ignorant about the game. If you want to lead or command a team, you have to be extremely educated about whatever game you're playing. It doesn't really matter if you were a pro at StarCraft, if you don't share the same knowledge about the game when it comes to League of Legends, you won't have the same skill level. Sun Tzu continues on to iterate his point that when the army is restless or distrustful, trouble is sure to ensue. By making these mistakes, you simply invite anarchy into the team and throw away any hopes you have at victory. By knowing this, he explains to us how we are able to determine 5 essentials for victory. The first being, he will win who knows when to fight and when not to fight. A basic and seemingly obvious point, but essential nonetheless. You have to know when you can defend this turret, this dragon, or this baron, and when you can't. You have to pick your battles wisely, because if you don't, you'll only set yourself behind again and again. Second, he will win who knows how to handle both superior and inferior forces. Just because you're behind or because the other team is stronger doesn't mean you've lost the game. Understanding being on both the winning and losing sides of a game and how to handle it is essential. If you have a lead, know how to push that lead and how to prevent any sort of comebacks. Or if you're behind, know how to draw the game out, bring the goal difference closer and closer, and prepare for a thrilling comeback. Third, he will win whose army is animated by the same spirit throughout all its ranks. The team with the motivation and attitude to match will more likely end up winning. Fourth, he will win who prepared himself waits for the enemy unprepared. A more organized team can do a number of things to win. All hide in the brush at Baron after their oracles cleared the wards, split push, counter jungle, all these things will destroy less organized teams. This just goes to show a man who lived in 500 BC knew this too. And finally, fifth, he will win who has military capacity and is not interfered with by the sovereign. If your leader is your sole commander, isn't influenced by any sort of larger industry, and is an intelligent, masterful tactician, then you'll be able to put your full amount of faith into him without having to worry about any sort of malicious, secret intent. This is less about solo queue and more about sustained teams with sponsors or websites backing them. If you're playing on a team like that, you have to have faith in your leader, and you have to know that he cares about the team as a whole and wants to win just as much as you do. If you care about money more than you do winning, you'll end up like the North American teams did during Season 2. If you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. Being an educated, intellectual player will do more for you than you've ever imagined. If you know everything about your team and your opponents, you'll be able to use your knowledge to win an incredibly large amount of games throughout your League of Legends career. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you very much for watching. Good luck in solo queue, and have a wonderful day.